Welcome everyone. We have about 2 minutes until we get started. I see a lot of people are pouring in. Very excited to see that. Very excited to tell you guys about our program. And we're going to get started right at 7 p.m.
Mr. Cortot, is it recording for us now? I see it came up.
Yes, I saw the message and I made sure to hit that record button. Don't want to forget that.
Yeah, good for our participants to know if for any reason you drop off or the connection isn't clear. Just know that we will have a recording of the webinar up on our website later this week. Okay. Thanks to everyone for joining.
Yeah, and it is. Got a great question in chat that we will definitely get a chance to talk about during the presentation. The short answer is that the regional program that this is application based, and those students will be working closely together. Whereas at Watkins Mill, any student can become an IB student when they reach 11th grade, but this starts in 9th grade. With that said, let's go ahead and get started for the evening, everybody. Hi, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Richard Cortot. I am the MYP coordinator at Watkins Mill High School, as well as the regional IB program coordinator. So for all questions related to this particular topic, I am your first point of contact. And with us tonight is Ms. Beto Aleman, who is one of the assistant principals here at Watkins Mill. And I believe you are with freshmen this year, correct?
But I always work with our IB and IB regional program students. So welcome to everyone who's able to join. Thank you so much for taking time out of your family, have your family time at home and dinner. Hopefully you're having a nice cup of tea or cup of coffee or eating dinner as you're joining us for this informational program tonight.
And thank you for saying that, reminding me to turn the music off. So let's go ahead and get started. I just want to go ahead and welcome all of you who are parents, guardians, caretakers, or students, class of 2026. As you can see, this is our principal, Miss Carol Goddard. She is a wonderful woman, and she is very invested in this program, in what we do here, and making sure that all of our students have access to IB classes and the rigor that they need to be ready for high school and beyond. As I said, I am Mr. Richard Cortot, and Ms. Beto Aleman is with us. And additionally, our 11th and 12th grade IB coordinator, the diploma program coordinator, who your students will potentially work with later on, is Mrs. Lisa Ingram. She was unavailable to join us tonight. So we're going to talk a little bit about the IB mission statement and the Watkins Mill mission statement. For the IB, the International Baccalaureate aims to develop inquiring, knowledgeable, and caring young people who help to create a better and more peaceful world through intercultural understanding and respect. And at Watkins Mill, that is our aim, and we were lucky enough to be able to partner with IB to make that happen. And I can tell you consistently in our building, the number one thing that we are always focused on is having students think about themselves as IB learners and IB ready. And it is really awesome to hear the students talk about themselves in that way, because for some of the students, it's the first time they've ever really thought about themselves as thinkers, as caring, as reflective, and it really is showing their growth. And it's so cool to watch from 9th to 12th grade. And let's take a look at the program curriculum for both 9th and 10th grades and 11th and 12th grades, because this program is designed to have students start in the 9th grade program and 10th grade program to then make the jump into the 11th and 12th grade program. This is kind of like a runway to get them started. So when students join our regional IB program, they work with only the students in the program in English, biology, government, chemistry, and AP US history. So these 3 classes each year are all cohorted together with only students that are in the program. When it comes to world languages and math, that is a little bit harder to do due to different pathways that students are on. We have some students ready to take IB French 4 in 9th grade, and we have some students who are ready to take French 2. Neither one is wrong. It's just, it makes it very difficult to keep the students all together in one set of classes. So we do our best to put them into cohorts in math and language classes as possible. And then, in addition, to round out their schedules, students will take 2 of these 3 listed areas each year, whether that is art, technology, or physical and health education. We highly recommend, if possible, that health education be done during the summer to allow for more flexibility in the schedule, but we know that isn't always possible, and that's okay. All of that. So this is an example schedule for a 9th or 10th grade student that is in the program and how they would go about getting ready for their IB classes. As you can see, cohorted classes, and then you have your non-cohorted classes, but still IB prep classes. And then you have your electives down here. The electives are with all students throughout the building. There are no cohorts for the electives at this time. And all of that leads into the IB diploma program. There are 6 main areas where students need to study to earn a diploma in the IB diploma program. And they need to make sure that they are taking exams at the correct levels. We're not going to focus too much on this tonight because this is something students don't need to really worry about until 11th or 12th grade. But this is where they begin earning the college credit potentially from the program while they're still in high school. As you can see, these are the courses that we offer at Watkins Mill in the different subject groups, as well as whether they are higher level or standard level courses. Typically, the main difference between higher level and standard level courses are the amount of time that you take them. Higher level courses are 2-year courses where you take the first course and then the second course in a subject area in back-to-back years, whereas standard level is usually just 1 year. And I see a question in the Q&A. Is the curriculum at Watkins Mill the same or different from the IB curriculum at Richard Montgomery? It is exactly the same. There may be small differences in course offerings due to staffing. For example, I know Richard Montgomery has somebody available to teach Chinese as a foreign language, whereas Watkins Mill does not. But beyond small course selection options, the programs are exactly the same because IB requires that.
Mr. Cortad, I'm just going to clarify to jump in. In terms of the cohort programs, we do want to note that our teachers across school programs do meet regularly, again, to have that comparable experience for students across the regional IB programs.
Yes, yes, we do. That is a very good point, Ms. Beto. Thank you. So additionally, there's one final capstone piece to the diploma program. They have to take the theory of knowledge course and write their extended essay, roughly a 10-page essay. And obviously they have to complete their SSL hours. So now that we know the background on the program, we can talk about why it's worthwhile, how it can help students prepare for those next steps. This is just a very small snapshot of the difference an IB education makes. At the University of Virginia, California, Berkeley, Michigan, North Carolina, and Yale, you can see the disparity between the acceptance rate of IB program graduates versus non-IB program graduates. And this is just a very small snapshot. You also have to remember just how many schools and options there are out there. The one thing that I can definitively say about IB is that unlike AP, it teaches you how to be a better student, not necessarily just more knowledgeable. So I think that's really something that a lot of colleges are looking for now, is students that know how to be really excellent students. Additionally, we have some quotes here. If your student is an 11th or 12th grader and you are choosing between AP and IB, in my mind, IB is the better program. The principal reason is the increased emphasis on writing. As I was saying, you know, AP, it's really knowledge-based, fact-based, easy to study for. IB is the soft skills that you can't really put into words. So I just want all of you to keep that in mind when looking at AP versus IB moving forward. And beginning this year at Watkins Mill, we are actually getting into some really exciting partnerships that help our program stand out from all of the other program options that there are in the county. All of the programs across the county are excellent. I just want to celebrate our successes here at our parent night. I'm in the process of working with the teachers at Watkins Mill, Strathmore, Glenstone Museum, as well as Seneca Valley High School, because they are starting their own IB program, to develop a program for students to get more involved with the arts while also meeting their MYP requirements for their personal project. Our students have school-based leadership and involvement opportunities. I think we have a principals leadership council consisting of roughly 20 students, I believe. And I think that 6 of them this year are from the regional IB program. And that's only grades 9 and 10. So they're very well represented. They're very involved in student government, Key Club, all of the different schools in our, or programs in our building. They're very much so a part of the Watkins Mill community. And as long as funding is able to continue, and I think it should be, we've been able to offer some really awesome summer enrichment programs over the past 2 years, and we hope that that will continue. But we've given students the opportunity for enrichment programs as well as credit-based programs to work towards graduation, earn some elective credits, and potentially, you know, move ahead in certain subject areas. Yes.
Oh, Mr. Quartet, I'm going to pause here because we have some questions coming in related
Absolutely.
to course pieces. So a couple things that came out, sort of, do we offer a band? Yes, we do have a band. We have the drum line coming back as well. So that's a program that we're continuing to build. There's some questions about Chinese. If a student was taking Chinese in middle school and needs to continue, we specifically do not offer, but we are partnering with other schools that do offer to see if there is a way for us to be able to still offer that pathway for students. Again, we don't have it just yet, but if you're focused in on that piece and that's something you really would like to explore, we will continue to explore partnerships with other schools, kind of like you mentioned, our partnership with Seneca Valley here, so that we can continue to have a robust program for all of our students. As Mr. Quartet mentioned, you know, wherever your student goes in Montgomery County, they're going to get a fabulous education. We just want to make sure that anything that we have to offer for your students here at Watkins Mill, if you have any questions, if there are any other ideas, that you connect with us, with Mr. Quartet specifically, so that we can explore and ensure that your student does have that quality experience that's unique to him or her.
And I also answered a couple of other questions just to keep everyone up to date. The SSL requirements for students in the program are 150 hours rather than 75. And as Ms. Beto said, we do offer band. We offer concert band, we offer marching band, jazz band, orchestra, chorus. I mean, we have the whole spectrum of those opportunities available. And to answer the question specifically, if a student is taking Chinese, we are working right now to try to either find a virtual solution now that we have been exposed to the virtual technology and the virtual options, to see if we can work out a virtual solution for students to attend our program and still take Chinese. But we're still in the very early stages of that. So we're working towards it. All right, so what makes Watkins Mill different? What makes Watkins Mill stand out? Our vision is that we are dedicated to helping each student reach their full potential academically, socially, and emotionally by establishing a culture of continuous support. I think that if you ask 90% of Watkins Mill students will reply and say that there is always at least one teacher in their corner encouraging them to get their stuff lined up, to work harder, to reach further than they thought possible. We are a really, really tight-knit staff that really cares about our students' success. So here are just some images of things that we have the opportunity to do through Orange Nation, our student-led, I guess it would be a PEP organization. We've had visits from a program called High School Nation. They brought a concert to our school, along with a bunch of like free swag and advertisers. It was a really good time. Obviously, it was before the pandemic, but they have reached out. They want to continue supporting us. They want to continue working with us. So that's very exciting. We're a school of about 1,600 students, roughly. And we are growing. You know, we're making moves. So our student body represents 50 different countries around the world, and we have 40 different languages that are spoken either by the students directly or at home. And I believe that we are one of the most, if not the most diverse high school in Montgomery County in terms of countries represented, languages spoken, and student body breakdown. So as I said, our wonderful staff, incredibly committed to the success of our students and being a part of a world community, living the IB lifestyle. Our students want more. We support them to go out and chase the more that they want. So I'm going to pause right here before we start talking about admissions, because it segues nicely with one of the questions in the Q&A section. So your question, what's the difference between a Richard Montgomery IB and Watkins Mill IB? Functionally, there is no difference, with the one exception being that anyone anywhere in the county can apply to Richard Montgomery, and we are a regional program, not a county-wide program. So I think our geographic area is like Gaithersburg, Montgomery Village, the Quince Orchard area, Poolsville, Damascus. We're like the northwest corner of the county, can apply to come to our school. The really awesome thing, the way the application works, it's the same application for both programs. So if you apply for one, it's very easy, and honestly, probably just the most reasonable way to go about it is to just automatically check both boxes. Just apply to both programs, because it doesn't harm you in any way, shape, or form to apply to both. It doesn't come into factors until you get your acceptance letters and have to make a decision. So the SSL hours are not required before high school. They're required by the time you graduate. And
Mr. Quartet, I think that leads us right into the admissions pieces, because some of the other questions coming in the Google form have to deal with the admissions. And again, okay, if you have additional questions, please feel free to put them in the Google form. I'm going to throw those up in the chat again, the link, so that we can get back to you on any specific questions that are related to your child's unique situation.
All right. So let's go ahead and talk some admissions stuff. So in order to be eligible for the program, your student should be in at least Algebra 1 this year. You should be coming to high school having completed Algebra 1. And having taken at least level 1 of Spanish or French, ready to move in French 2 or Spanish 2 in 9th grade, and just have the mental and social and emotional skills necessary to be ready for a very rigorous college prep approach to classes, to scheduling, to workload. You just have the right mindset of being really passionate about growing and improving and becoming successful by putting the work in. I think those are the 3 key things that we're looking for. So as far as the application goes, 1 application for all of the criteria-based programs in the county. Our regional program, Poolesville's humanities program, the RM program, everything is just all 1 application. So you fill it out 1 time, you say what things you would like to apply for, and then it goes. The application used to auto-generate teacher recommendation emails. This year, there is no teacher recommendation required. I forgot to delete that, I apologize. And the application is only available through the ParentVUE portal. So if you do not have ParentVUE set up, you will not be able to apply to the program. So make sure to reach out to your middle school counseling department to get you set up with ParentVUE so that you can apply by the deadline. There is no fee associated with any application to any of these programs. It is all free and easily accessible. Any questions, as I said, about ParentVUE credentials or how to log in should go directly to the middle school, specifically your student's counselor. If you are a non-MCPS student, you must get an MCPS student ID from the home middle school that you would have attended. So based on where you currently live, you have to reach out to that middle school to get them to generate a student ID for you so that you can set up a ParentVUE account to apply. And as you see, the application deadline is November 5th of this year. So that's only a couple of weeks away, but we have plenty of time to get these applications taken care of.
Mr. Courtot, I'm going to interject just really quickly because there's one question that came up about the sort of application. So is ParentVUE and is Synergy, are those the same? They are not. So it's a lot of the same information, but it's really important that you have a ParentVUE account activated. Your student, your child will not necessarily be able to access the application and the same information in Synergy for StudentVUE, because again, we do need parental consent, and that comes through virtue of the ParentVUE account, which is separate from StudentVUE. So that was a great question to clarify. Thanks for asking.
Yes, and that is something that the central office folks have really been harping on. Make sure we stress the ParentVUE piece. This is it is not available in StudentVUE at all, sadly, at this time. So the criteria that will be reviewed after the applications are submitted and they're being reviewed at the schools, there are multiple measures. That's the approach that we use. And it includes both district level and externally developed assessment of students. So both grades and things like MAP-R are considered. The data will be considered in the student application responses, their report cards, their services, as well as external assessments. Teacher recommendations will not be collected this year due to the pandemic and the circumstances surrounding it. And additionally, the COGAT used to be a requirement for the application process, but due to the continued instructional interruptions, the COGAT will not be administered this year and therefore will not be considered in the application process. Again, the deadline is November 5th, 2021. So after the application process and the initial review of the students in the applicant pool, decisions will be mailed out in February. All decisions will be mailed out on the same day via email and paper mail. A yes invitation for the decision, you will need to send in confirmation of your acceptance. if you receive a no, we will include appeals information for you to be able to appeal the decision. And if you receive a wait pool designation, students will be notified as the year progresses if seats become available. In the past, this has typically happened around May or June, but that is a as needed basis only. And I just want to,
I'm going to pause and just elevate a few of the questions related to the slide here. We had a couple questions about when students could decide if they're allowed to apply to multiple programs. The answers are you may apply to multiple programs. It does not factor into our decision making which program you're accepted to. We all have very similar selection processes, and the notifications will come out at the same time. If you're fortunate enough to be accepted to multiple programs, you'll have that decision to make, and you'll just inform. That's why we have the yes, the no, and the wait. Okay. And then there were some folks who asked Mr. Kortap for you to elaborate on the external assessment, which again is not required. I think the key piece here is that it's not required right now.
Yeah, it is not required due to the circumstances surrounding the pandemic. We are going to work with the data that we have available from the middle school year. And we know that the data is going to be incomplete because much of it is going to be from when these students were in 7th grade, possibly learning virtually only. So all of these things are going to factor into the decision process, but I can't really expound much more on that other than there is no external assessment required this year. And if you are applying from a private school, you can submit external assessment scores if you have them. Somebody just asked in the chat, how early can you apply? I believe that the applications are available right now in Parent View. You could apply tonight if you wanted to. The one thing I did want to make sure that I just reiterated, this process is exactly the same for all of the county programs, whether it's a humanities program, a science-based program, or one of the IB programs. We all follow this exact same timeline. All programs send their letters out on the exact same day, countywide. There's another question in the chat.
Mr. Kortap, in the interest of time, it's about 7:26. So we will be mindful of that. Again, if there are other specific questions, especially about external assessment, testing, any of those, please feel free to put those in the chat, and then we can give you a call back if you're asking questions specific or unique to your child's situation. Okay. And I think we're almost there.
Yes, we are wrapping up. Just the last couple of slides. This is the link to our full course offerings at Watkins Mill for IB. Please feel free to view our school website and look through our program. Additionally, the link to the Google question bin is here in the presentation. Feel free to drop another question. I can see we have, I think we're up to 8 or 9 responses in there already. So I'm going to be busy the rest of this week getting in touch with everybody. And I'm going to take you guys to visit our regional program website because I'm so proud of what I put together here for this. I just want to show it off. And honestly, thank you guys for coming, for the decision to apply. If you have questions about the application process or any trouble with Parent View or finding the application, please check the special programs website, available linked in this presentation, which again will be on our IB program website. And I really look forward to working more closely with many of you. So if you wanted to go ahead and check out now, have a wonderful evening. Very quickly, I want to just show the website that we put together and the video that the students made today. It was really great. And I just want to maybe end on the student perspective. So this is our website. Like I said, tons of information. Going to skip the whole way down to the bottom. And we're just going to hear from the students. And then if you guys have any remaining questions, I'll be happy to stay on for a few minutes and answer some.
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Nicholas Gonzalez, and I went to Montgomery Village Middle School.
How did being a part of the regional IB program help you transition to high school?
Well, for one, the gradual learning curve from online school to the IB program, which is a huge step, was actually pretty okay. The learning curve was not steep at all. The adaptiveness of the teachers was really amazing coming from online schools. They just like kept trying to re-invert yourself into the IB program. And they also prep you for tests and projects and whatever you need. And they give you a lot of help, and they're just really nice teachers. And because of that, like, you want to do work for them, and you want to do solid work for them.
And what challenges, such as transportation, starting at a new school, things like that, have you faced since becoming a regional IB student?
Well, first of all, as I mentioned before, the workload from online school to IB program is quite substantial, but the teachers make it very manageable. And then it's just a regular middle school to high school transitions. Workload, how early you wake up, how early you go to sleep, what bus you go on, things like that. And just going into a new school, like, if you don't know anybody from that school, it would be a little bit tough, but fortunately I know people from this school, so it's actually a very enjoyable experience.
My name is Naharka Videra, and I came from Hartford Magnet Middle School.
How have your regional IB classes prepared you for IB exams and your next steps after high school?
Overall, I think they have explained the process and prepared us for what might be on the exam. And then the teachers has let us learn in like a way we feel comfortable, especially because after COVID, it was sort of a hard transition from virtual to online learning.
And what is the workload like for you in your regional IB classes?
I think the workload is pretty mild. It just depends on the classes.
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Andrew Hurt, and I'm from Montgomery Village Middle School.
All right, so that's just a little preview. We have, I think, 5 or 6 students in total that gave us some really great information. And we have some videos from students during remote learning when they were in 9th grade. There's one last question I want to highlight, and then I'm going to direct everyone else to please fill out that Google form, leave contact information, and I can follow up with you. Is transportation available? It is available. The county does provide out of area students with transportation. There is a caveat to that. That transportation is only available at certain centralized locations, and parents and guardians and caretakers are responsible for getting students to those centralized locations or to Watkins Mill each morning, depending on what they are able to work out best for them. And this is something that we are starting to experience some of the challenges that brings with it, because we're finally back in person, but we are working to maximize transportation and access for as many students as possible. So it is available, yes. And I think with that, Ms. Beta, we can maybe wrap things up for the evening.
Yes, we just want to remind folks, sorry, I just want to say we want to remind folks that there will be a recording of this meeting on that same website, which we've shared with you. If you have any questions, that Google form will still be live. Again, that is included again on that website. And Mr. Cortat and I will be in touch with folks as soon as possible, starting tomorrow, but do give us a couple days into next week because we are getting a flood of questions coming in. But we know your questions are valuable, your time is valuable. We want to thank you again for joining us tonight. Mr. Cortat?
Thank you, Ms. Beto, and thank you everyone for attending. Absolutely fantastic numbers. 73 different families in attendance. Very exciting. We look forward to getting your applications and being in touch in the very near future to answer any questions you might have. Have a wonderful evening, and I will get back in touch as soon as possible.